So real life versus reality. Okay. Real life versus reality. I'm going to show a video. This is the reality. Okay. I call it the bullshit machine. A lot of people call it the Matrix. Okay. But real life versus the reality. Let me just show you a quick video of the reality. And
lining up in the rain to get tested for something they have no symptoms for. This is the definition of insanity. This is crazy. Not to mention there's ethylene oxide on these cotton swabs, which is a known carcinogen.
Right. So this is
crazy. Not to mention there's ethylene oxide on these cotton swabs, which is a known carcinogen.
Okay, sound is not obviously. Let me see. So that guy is pointing out people in the reality. What the reality does is it wants to get our attention and then make it our real life. Okay? But there's a difference between the reality versus real life, okay? Real life. Think of real life as how life is described in the Bible, where we're like if somebody who has a homestead, a farmer, somebody working closely with the land, builders, people doing stuff with their hands, right? People farming animals, people growing gardens, right? And getting a brain fart here, but people doing stuff that are with biblical, like God's plan, right? What's God's plan? Be fruitful and multiply, right? So everything, fruit has seeds, right? So be fruitful and multiply. Human beings have seeds, right? Treat like everything, be fruitful and multiply. And things kind of take care of themselves. Now, in that like biblical real life, we'll have stuff that like goes through like hardship, like we'll have droughts, super cold winters, right? Crops don't grow, stuff like that would be considered real life. Whereas like being stuck in the reality is the mental construct that you made up in your head, right? Whether like somebody wearing a NASA t-shirt kind of stuck in the reality, right? Because NASA is just as much imagination as, if not more. It's probably more, takes more imagination than Disney. Okay? NASA is just fun CGI, but you really gotta build a mental construct. How do I know this? Well, because I was a real big fan of space before. I was a real big fan of, how NASA described the universe, like that show, The Universe on the History Channel. They said on that show, it said that there's more stars in the universe than there are grains of sand on planet Earth. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, that's fucking crazy. So just a statement like that, could you imagine? Well, you can imagine, but like take your mind and actually try and like calculate. Like, well, I've been to a beach before. I've been to this beach, and wow, that was a really big beach. And then you think about all the sand, like the play sand, and like there's no way. It's like it's incalculable, incalculable. This the allergies also not helping me, but it's not able to calculate. Okay, incalculable. It's retarded. All right. So, but what happens, like, and then they say that the universe is expanding, right? And then I watched one, the universe, where they talked about the big rip, right? And then all this, it was just going to, and then zip back into nothingness again. It was like, it really expands. Like, you have to build this mental construct, okay? Or at least that's what I do, okay? That's what I did with that. Now, think about doing that with building a mental construct, not just with, the universe and space and stuff like that, but think about building a mental construct with a virus, right? A virus, you would never think that it exists the way they think it exists, the way the story says it exists, right? You have to build that mental construct. They have to tell you to stay 6 feet away from somebody. So now you're constantly imagining I'm not saying you personally, but the goal of this is to constantly get somebody to keep building this story, right? Oh man, this person is at 5 feet away from me. What is this 6 feet for? Blah, 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 blah. Like, you get into it, like, oh my God, I'm too close to people. This person is talking too close to me. Oh shit, somebody just spit on my face, on accident. People spit when they talk. It's one of those things. It's like, you have to build this thing. You have to build this thing, and you have to create a reality for it, right? And then in creating a reality for it, you have to give it your energy, right? You have to give your energy and your fear and your ideas and your imagination and what if, right? That's why movies are great at programming us, right? We want to relax and entertain ourselves, and then we go see something like I Am Legend, or we go see something like 12 Monkeys, and it's like, oh man, that was a great movie, and that all the music and the camera angles and blah blah blah, and it's like you really start getting to think like, holy shit, what if that was really to happen, and blah 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 blah, and all of a sudden in 2019 this COVID story comes out, you're like, oh my God, could all the movies be right? And then this whole thing has to be built, and we get further and further and further and further the fuck away from real life, right? What is real life? Real life is what's here right now. Your family is real life, and that's even kind of like a part of the reality in a way too. But it's your real life, right? It's the stuff that we invited in. A lot of the stuff that we see on TV, like a lot of the stuff that you see, you may have gone to see the movie, but maybe you didn't want to see what you saw, right? A lot of stuff that we see and hear is uninvited, right? But your real life, your family, your relationships, right? Real life would be growing food. Real life would be tending to animals. Real life would be harvesting a chicken, right? Real life would be, God providing a little bit of a drought or something, whatever that is, right? It's not something that it's not something you have to construct in your mind. It's just stuff that's actually happening, right? So in real life, like right now, right, whatever's going on in your head is actually only going on in your head. Like right now, if I shut my mouth, watch, nothing's actually happening. Like real life, nothing's actually happening. But I'm making stuff up in my head, right? That's why I have a conversation to say. That's why I have something to talk about, because I'm just making up something in my head. That's the reality. It's like the reality you choose is the reality you choose to think in your head, right? And there's stuff that influences it, right? A lot of our input influences it. A lot of our trauma, our stored trauma, can influence it. That's why it's so important to get us educated all the same way, get us indoctrinated all the same way, get us to go to the same people to get the same answers, because our stuff, our trauma, our subconscious starts making stuff up for us, right? So you could sit here and nothing's happening, nothing's wrong, nothing is going on at all, but yet the whole world is going to shit. Right? That's the first thing I thought. Like, not that it's actually going to shit, but like, that's what the reality wants me to believe. The reality wants me to believe that the whole world is going to shit. But in real life, we're all just having a conversation, right? Right? There's nothing going on unless somebody does something stupid. And the reality is trying to make itself real life. It's trying to imitate real life, right? That's why it creates so many problems. That's why the TV, right? Reality TV is script. Like, we've known it's been scripted. It's nothing close to reality, but they say it's reality TV. It's real people. What the fuck is that? That's like saying we're using real oranges in this orange. It's what the fuck are they talking about, right? It's the reality. That's why I call it the bullshit machine. The bullshit machine, is just a great way for me to describe it. But I was watching Quantum of Conscious, and Matt calls it the reality. He was talking about chemtrails, right? And I'm gonna show you what he was talking. He was talking about chemtrails. He's like, yeah, first it was a blue sky, right? First it was a blue sky.
So it's a perfectly beautiful sky all around.
And
I forgot, it's about 3 o'clock.
He said,
and here is the first chemtrail.
Hang on a second.
Where'd he go?
I'll stop the play.
Oops, let me back up here. There he is. First chemtrail. I will keep documenting and make a few more videos, but it's perfectly blue. Guys, it's blue. Blue, blue, blue. Yeah, you're looking at trees here.
Yeah. Right?
But it's blue.
So that's the reality. That's not real life. Okay, I'm going to give you one more quick video of what it looked like.
And here it is, 5:30.
Off, by the way. So this is what it ended up looking like later. There's two more.
A couple of freshies.
Right? A couple of fresh ones. Yeah, just a breath. Right? So what Matt from Quantum was talking about was, he said he was driving, he started seeing it was a beautiful blue day. He saw the first plane, then he saw the second plane. He goes, oh man, here it goes. And I've had that same experience. But the way he was describing it is also the way I think about it. He said, you know what? That's just the reality trying to piss me off. And when he was talking about the reality, it confused me for a second. And then I was like, well, what if the reality is the bullshit machine? So the reality, if there's something other than the reality, it must be real life, right? So real life is the regular sky and the sun in the sky. And then all of a sudden, here comes something to take our energy, take our attention, right? And this is that type of sight, that type of length. The reality goes to piss people like me and Matt from Quantum off, right? And it's not a true pissed off, because I understand where the anger comes from. But that type of sight, right? And to be looking at the chemtrails in the sky rather than the Netflix on the screen is something that you have to understand, that somebody who's awake enough to choose their input, right? So I get enough of how do I want to say this? So that's but it's still the reality trying to take the attention, right? And it's trying to basically kind of create anger, right? Because I think that the more the reality or the bullshit machine or the Matrix, the more it thinks it works off of anger, kind of like Monsters Inc. Right? So like which worked off they got their energy from the screams of kids, right? So the reality wants to take our energy and kind of turn it into a negativity, right? And then that's how the reality on the outside of us looks unbearable, right? Once it gets so much of our energy and it turns it into anger, like racism, hate, trans, gay, like it wants to queer everything and just turn it into a fucking mishmash where it's just like, it looks like everything's going to shit because it wants you and me to believe that it's going to shit. But if we're rooted, and I'm in the reality enough, like with my job and stuff like that, and so this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm coming up with here, with a lot of help from other people. If we're rooted in real life, right? If we're rooted in real life, then the reality has less to grab onto, because we're not giving the reality so much of that attention. We're rooted in real life, knowing where our food comes from, doing it ourselves, using less and less and less of the conveniences, right? Like the Amish. The Amish are in real life. I would assume for the most part, right? They do things by hand. It's a community. They grow their own food. It's like the strength of the community is the strength of the community, right? And each individual person, they're accountable. It's a different way of life. It's more of a real life where people in the city and the suburbs, you live more in the reality, because it's the reality that you have to make up, right? The reality is the thing that you have to build a mental construct for. Okay? If you have anything to ask or add or please do it, because this is something, like I said, this is something I'm working out. I'm not right, but I like working out ideas. This is just a way for me to do it. It's kind of like, because I'm only looking at myself here, so it's kind of like selfie therapy. I get some ideas, and it, I want to share the good. I want to share